moving forward. All right, real quick, Cappy. Let's talk about Bradley Beal real quick.
Okay.
So Lindsay and I were discussing this earlier, and I wanted to talk about it because the Lakers are amongst several teams that were included as far as like potential suitors for Bradley Beal. And what I would say is it was Lakers, Clippers. Who are the other teams? Hold on. Lakers, Clippers. I'll look it up real quick.
Yeah, let me know what you got.
Yeah.
Because I've heard this stuff. And listen, I'm begging the Lakers, please, no.
Okay, well, you may get your wish. Oh, Lakers, Clippers, Warriors, and Bucks were the teams that Bradley Beal has, quote-unquote, thought about.
Okay.
I don't see the Bucks, although there was chatter about the Bucks last year. The Warriors, I don't know. I mean, maybe. The Lakers, I don't love the fit, to be honest with you. I don't think it's a bad fit because, again, their roster is not very good. Like, I will give LeBron this. He's right. The roster's not good. It's certainly not championship good. Bradley Beal helps. But I honestly think, and Lindsay, correct me if I'm wrong. I said to you, there's no way he's not going to the Clippers because they wouldn't have traded Norman Powell this morning.
Yeah, because I read a lot of things that said, like, oh, well, this deal basically sets up for the Clippers to sign Bradley Beal. And I was curious about that because I didn't realize that, like, they were really going to buy him out.
Well, think about it. If you're the Clippers, it's super smart. You trade Powell. You're actually hard capped now. You're under the first apron. You're hard capped at the first apron. You bring in Beal for whatever the buyout number is going to be, which is not a ton. And that's it. And, like, you're good.
And then they're also planning for next year because James Harden
they want to have
Kawhi.
free agent space, right?
Yeah.
And they have Kawhi and James Harden available, potential free agents. They also have the space for a max free agent if they want it.
So here's my perception. I like to use that word at times because I'm not a student of Bradley Beal's game.
Bradley Beal is in a perfect world, he's like the third or fourth best player on a championship-level team. It did not work out well in Phoenix because there was too much duplication with some of the other players, is what I would say.
He's always
and
hurt.
The rest of their roster was basically, especially early on in his career in Phoenix, the first year was basically a G League roster outside of those three guys. They got some guys, like cheap veteran guys who are at the end of their career last year and the year before, which was a little better. This year, which was a little better. But it wasn't great by any stretch of the imagination, the rest of the roster. And the fit just stunk.
So I look back to Bradley Beal's career, and because when I read that the Lakers would be interested in him, I went, I don't feel like that's a good personality mesh at all, okay? And I will always go back to when Russell Westbrook was signed by...
Oh, no, I don't think of Bradley Beal that way at all.
Yeah, he's not
No,
Russell
I'm not saying he's Russell Westbrook, but I'm just saying this, that the celebration for what Russell Westbrook was at the time, and we all know the disaster that it turned into.
Right.
Here's the thing about Bradley Beal.
But Russell Westbrook, I would say, there was reservation. Like, I've said this a million times. I got suckered into that because I was not a big proponent of it initially and was talked into it by, let's just say, people, okay? And
human beings? Just people.
Not human or pets. Not
these
animals.
are real humans. These are not
and
bots.
These humans, let's just say, like, were talking me into this, okay? And these humans that are in the NBA circles were talking me into this because they said, oh, he could play the Dwayne Wade role, and they have similar games.
They know how to get to you, boy.
Was Ireland one of those people that tried to talk you into it?
I mean, once you say Dwayne Wade, you're in.
Ireland.
Well, but they do have similar games, but I did push back and say, well, Dwayne Wade was an elite-level defender for a long, long time. Like, you know what I'm saying? And, like, he sacrificed a lot of his game to play with LeBron. So, like, it wasn't like, I'm genuinely curious to see. So I bought into it literally for 8 games. And then I remember 8 games into it, I said, this is not going to work. Like, I don't care what anybody was trying to sell me earlier. And then that's when I went full board, different direction as we did on the show. But Bradley Beal is not that. I would say,
I'm not saying that he's a disruption
no,
the way
and
Westbrook was.
He fits what the Lakers need, per se. I just think that, like, he's just I would say it's more of a Band-Aid because I don't think it's a long-term solution because I don't know if he wants to be here long-term, per se. Bradley
Beal's in his early 30s, number one. Number two, he's a guy that, going back to the 2018-ish time, 2017 season, 2018 season. By the way, I looked this up, so this is not because I've been watching Bradley Beal. those 2 years,
Followers.
2000 researchers, 2017, 2018, he played in all 82 games. That's impressive, okay?
Right.
But it's also like 7 years ago.
Yeah,
Since
it's been a
that
minute.
time,
Yeah.
Bradley Beal is a guy who averages about 50 games a year.
Yeah, he's not played a lot, right?
Right. So for me, when you don't play, look, I realize not everybody can get through 82 games, but if you're not playing 65 to 70-ish kinds of games, I don't need that, number one. Number two, and again, perception. I don't perceive Bradley Beal as a player who helps you get to a championship. And look, much of that could be that he was a player in Washington. I mean, okay.
I feel
did
like
I
he
miss
is.
it? Did I?
He's
Did
a
I?
good player.
If they
He's a good
added him
player.
to this team, I feel like it would certainly elevate their chances of that.
I mean,
Okay.
in Washington, it's not like, he had John Wall with him, but it's not like they had a ton of anything. They had like an old Paul Pierce that was still pretty good, I guess.
Got my boy Gortat.
Right, Marcin
Marcin.
Gortat. Yeah, I mean, listen, you remember, Cappy, when we were breaking down, Mind of the Game or whatever with JJ and LeBron? The Gortat cuts. You know what I'm saying? The Gortat screen. Sorry,
Slot cuts?
no, different thing.
Answer to your question, no, I don't remember it. But when you said Gortok, I thought you were talking about those nice.
Gortat.
I thought you were talking about those nice winter jackets that keep you all really warm. Isn't that what a Gortat is?
Yeah.
No, is that a different thing? Anyway, whatever.
Gortat. I don't know what that is.
I don't know. Isn't that like a
Jacket?
nice
The
jacket? That's very
Gortat
thick?
screen, Cappy, is a thing that is basically a strategy that allows you to exploit the drop coverage.
Ah, gotcha. Well, look, Bradley Beal hasn't played in 82 games since 7 years ago. Averages about 50 games. And again, perception. You guys can all knock me, and you guys can tell me I'm way wrong, and maybe you'll be proven right. I don't see him as a championship guy. I don't see him as adding to a championship. I don't see him as a role guy. I see him as a big personality and a guy who expects to be a top caliber type of player. And if you guys tell me I'm way wrong, okay, so be it.
Yeah, I don't know if he's got that kind of look, I think he thinks at his age, I will say this. I will agree with you on the injury thing. Again, the biggest predictor of future injuries, past injury. And I am genuinely curious to see if he believes that he can be a star in his role as opposed to a star on the team. I don't know if he's there yet at 32 years old, okay? But I think in theory he should still be able to be closer to – he definitely can be a star in his role. I don't think there's any question if he's willing to do that. Can he still be a star? That I don't know because of the availability issues more than anything else. It's not about his actual game. It's more about his availability.
You're building my case beautifully. And from a more educated perspective of his game, can he be a star in his position and in his role? Perhaps. Can he be a star in the team? Probably not. Is he willing to be a star in his role? Not really sure. And so when I have all those kinds of question marks, plus when I look at the number of games that he's played over the last couple of years, I think to myself, not the right guy for the Lakers.
But I would say that Luka would probably be the best player he's ever played with.
Okay, so I mean, listen, he's been playing with Booker, he's been playing with Durant.
Right,
I think
you're
I think
talking
Luka's
about
better.
a 36-year-old Kevin Durant and
Okay.
35, 36-year-old Kevin Durant, not 26-year-old Luka Doncic.
Okay.
If he would have played with Kevin Durant 5 years ago, then I would have said that's the best player he's ever played with.
I mean, listen, I think that one thing the Lakers, and I know that they've been criticized and people are not impressed with what they've done here through free agency because DeAndre Ayton is a monster question mark. I think the smartest thing that the Lakers have done, even though it's not very sexy, is the signing of this kid that they got from Sacramento, Jake LaRavia, who I don't know much about this guy.
LaRavia.
However you want to say it. I don't even know how to pronounce his name.
It's like tomato.
Right. Here's the thing. The one thing about this young guy
Yeah.
is you need bench players. You need 7, 8, 9 deep. You need to look at what Oklahoma City did to win the championship and what Indiana did to get to the championship. You don't just have 5 guys and you don't have anybody on your bench.
I'm with you on that. But I think when you look at this team, I think Bradley Beal would help your depth, that's for sure.
And you never know. They might be able to do something as far as if Beal was to come off the bench, he can be that spark of the sixth man. If that's not the case, if Austin Reeves is struggling, they can switch the lineup up. Austin
he
Reeves
did that
being
in
their sixth
Phoenix.
man.
He did that in Phoenix, and by the way, he didn't have to do that. He could have pitched a fit about that, and he didn't. He didn't. He did what they thought was best.
Captain, Bradley Beal does a great job of creating his own shot, but he can be that spot-up guy as well. He has to be able to accept that role being a spot-up guy, but his ability to create his own jump shot and take guys off the dribble is one of a kind too.
And the Lakers need, I don't think it's going to happen. I think he's going to the Clippers, but it's because again, you're not trading Norman Powell in that scenario. The Clippers just didn't want to pay Norman Powell the 3-year extension for $90 million or whatever it was. So you take Beal, who's cheaper and you think can produce similarly to Norman Powell, who put up 21 points a game last year.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think that he's going to end up a Clipper and he's going to have a good season with the Clippers. And he could have had a good season with the Lakers, perhaps, but it's not. I don't think it's going to unfold that way.
DeAndre, last thought from me. You said it very well. He can be this if he's willing to accept that role. And because there's a question mark already of will he accept that role, that is, for me, why I'm out on a player like that.
Yeah, and by the way, Jake LaRavia, while I like the upside to Jake LaRavia, I mean, he's really had one great month in his career.
Oh, my God, he's a complete nobody. I mean, he first-round draft choice, I believe it was of Memphis, and then finds himself, in Sacramento, and you look at the numbers and you look at the games that he played and you look at the production in terms of stats, he's a complete nobody. But the Lakers are thinking to themselves, we're trying to build a little bit of depth. We're trying to find some guys that can come off the bench.
I get that. I get it.
So do I. I'll buy that.